What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the new seasonal weapons. There's 10 in total, and they actually look pretty good. They have the origin trait Dark Ether Reaper. Final blows with this weapon periodically spawn Dark Ether charges. Charges can be detonated early with weapons fire or by coming into contact with them. Doing so refills this weapon from reserves. So kind of just get a free reload with it, which is interesting. And yeah, the first weapon is a Void Precision Frame Sidearm. Very similar to the one that was in the Prophecy Dungeon all that time ago. It's now sunset, but it used to be in the weapon pool. So anyways, the roles I'm looking at, Demolitionist 1 for All are really nice. 1 for All is very easy to proc in PvE, and it is a 35% damage increase. And then Demolitionist is nice as we get into more ability heavy builds. This just allows us to spam our grenades more often as we get kills. It's got the classic Repulsor Brace Destabilizing Rounds Wombo combo for Void Synergy. This is super common this season. A lot of weapons have this. Threat Detector is decent, like Threat Detector Surrounded. You're going to get increased reload speed, stability, handling. And Surrounded is a 40% increase to damage. And if we enhance it, I believe it goes up, 47%. Rampage, kind of a perk of the past. Desperate Measures pretty much gives what Rampage does, but much easier. Air Trigger, I don't really like, but you do you. Attrition Orb, same thing, I'm not the hugest fan of. To the Pain, this is more of a PvP perk. While the weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling and aim assist until the weapon is stowed. Taking more damage increases this effect. It could be decent with closing time, like I said, especially for duels. Improves range, accuracy, and handling as the mag gets lower. Harmony, if you, again, say you paired it with a sniper in PvP, get a kill with the sniper, pull it out, you've got 20% more damage. And yeah, that's pretty much all of them. Then Lone Wolf slightly improves aim assist, aim down sights, and airborne effectiveness. Increases these effects when there are no nearby allies. So if no one's near you, it'll be increased, but apparently it's always active to some degree. And we don't have solid numbers on this yet. It's a new perk this season. So next is, oh yeah, did I say the name of that one? Insurmountable. So next is Noxious Vetiver. No idea if I'm saying that right. But it's got a really good perk combination. Loose Change, applying an elemental debuff to a target increases the reload speed, aim assist, and movement while aiming down sights. And then Jolting Feedback, dealing repeat damage with this weapon inflicts Jolt. While amplified, Jolt is applied faster. So again, we don't have numbers on this, but even if it is like over half the magazine, that's still very strong because Volt Shot is great, but on something like an SMG, which it does roll on a couple, it's not the easiest to proc in things like Grandmasters because yeah, it's just hard to get primary kills, then you gotta reload and then you apply it. It's fine in lower end content, but in something like GM's, Jolting Feedback is gonna be so much better. I know we have Overload SMG this season, but in the future when we don't, you can just lay into an Overload Captain or any Overload champion and then apply Jolt, and Jolt is like literally the easiest way to deal with overloads. Once they're jolted, you can usually get off 2 stuns in 1 jolt, so this will be extremely strong. So this is the role I'm actually chasing, is Loose Change, Jolting Feedback. We also have To the Pain and Target Lock. That's more of a PvP one. We'll look at the time to kill if Target Lock. Yeah, so Target Lock can help on tier 5 and lower. You can kill on 8 crits. But I don't really like it in PvE that much. I love Frenzy. Frenzy's great for PvE. Unrelenting Frenzy or Thresh. We never see Thresh anymore. Killing combatants with this weapon generates a small amount of super energy. So yeah, if you're running a build that's based around getting your super, then Thresh and Jolting Feedback could be good. Thresh and Frenzy. Attrition Orbs, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but if you are, there it is. Pugilist, good for building into melee builds. Heating Up, a kill chaining perk in PvP, and then you could pair that with like Rampage or Desperate Measures. So yeah, some decent PvP options with like Heating Up or To the Pain. And then yeah, I would like Desperate Measures. Redirection is also one you don't see that much. Damaging rank and file combatants increases damage against more powerful ones. But on a primary weapon, I'm not usually using those on powerful combatants. I'm usually switching to a special or a heavy. So yeah, same type of thing with Vorpal. Is it good? Yeah, it can be, but I'm not gonna whittle down an Overload champion with my Vorpal weapon SMG for that 20% damage increase. So yeah, Jolting Feedback, Loose Change, I think is the god roll. Next we have Liturgy, a stasis grenade launcher in the double fire archetype. We've only had them previously, I believe, in the energy slot, Welder Flight, and the solar one from Wildstyle, that's it, from Nightfall Strikes. So this one is in the top slot, and you can get Chill Clip on it. Chill Clip I love on Lingering Dread, and now you can get it on a double fire, and double fires just hit harder, and they can potentially hit like 2 enemies just because of their firing pattern. So yeah, Chill Clip on this thing will be great. Rhyme Stealer is a new weapon a new perk. Destroying a stasis crystal or defeating a frozen target with this weapon grants you frost armor. So it's got stasis synergy, but I don't really like it unless it was on like a headstone weapon, and even then I think there's better perks. Strategist, you're typically not getting a ton of kills with these grenade launchers. I mean, you can use them for ad clear, but they're more for utility. So you're not going to get a ton of class ability energy because you're usually not getting a ton of kills with these things. You got Perpetual Motion, which increases the handling and reload speed, which is nice. Quick Draw for that quick handling, like when you pull it out. I'll get to Envious Arsenal in a second. Surplus for increased reload, handling, and stability. Slideways. So sliding partially reloads this weapon's magazine and temporarily boosts handling and stability. Cannot be triggered again while the buff is active. So there's a 3-second cooldown, so you can't just slide spam, but you could shoot a Chill Clip shot, slide, shoot another one, and then you'll be able to freeze. So this thing can very easily deal with unstops because it could freeze, as well as overloads because it applies slow. So Slideways Chill Clip or Envious Arsenal. This is another new one. Dealing damage with both other weapons before readying this weapon refills it from reserve. So you could shoot an Overload Captain or something and stun it with Chill Clip. And we do have Overload GL this season, but in the future when we don't, Chill Clip would still stun it. So you shoot it, then you just deal damage with your other 2 weapons, and when the slow wears off, you just swap back to this, and it'll be reloaded, and you can apply slow again with Chill Clip. Which for me, I prefer. I'm so used to bait and switch at this point, which works the same way, but for a damage boost, that this would pair like perfectly with the playstyle I like to go with. So I'm hunting Envious Arsenal Chill Clip, but Slideways Chill Clip could also be good. And then you got Harmony, Lead from Gold, Swashbuckler, Chain Reaction, Desperate Measures, One for All. So a bunch of damage increasing perks, but again, like I said, I'm not overly using these for damage. And if you wanted to use this in a swap rotation, it's not great there either because this requires a kill, requires kill, requires kill, requires hitting 3 enemies. So it doesn't have Vorpal Weapon like Wilder Flight does. So if you were using it in a DPS rotation, I think you'd still want Chill Clip because there's some synergy there with like Prismatic Fragments, where when it's hit by a Darkness debuff, your light abilities deal more damage. So you could keep applying a Darkness debuff with this Chill Clip. So Envious Chill Clip to me is the god roll. I wouldn't really want any of these other perks aside from Lead from Gold, which is just good on basically anything. Bittersweet, the grenade launcher. This is an arc adaptive frame. So without mini frags, sorry, I've got backup mag on. So this thing only holds 5 in the mag, which isn't a lot. So I would almost recommend mini frags, which takes it up to 6, or augmented drum, which takes it up to 7. But if you run mini frags and throw a backup mag on, it goes to 8, as does augmented drum. So for me, I'm going mini frags over spike grenades. Spikes do add, it says 12.5% impact damage, but when you factor in the impact and the blast radius or whatever, it works out to like a 3% damage increase. So I'd rather just have one more in the mag, but that's a personal thing. You do you. Reverberation, final blows with this weapon increase the size of its detonations for a short duration. I don't think it's that great personally. Jolting feedback, very interesting. But usually GLs, even if you're using it on like a pretty high health target, you're probably going to kill it in a few shots before proccing Jolt. In higher end content, probably not. But again, in higher end content, you're probably using a primary with jolting feedback or volt shot or some other way to deal with a champion. You're not going to shoot like 3 shots at an overload GL to proc jolting feedback just to stun it. Typically, again, you do you, but I don't think that plays very well. So a neat roll, but not necessarily great on a heavy GL. Cascade Point is really, really good. And it could pair really perfectly with Envious Arsenal. So again, I already talked about how that works. So yeah, you could do some sniper shots because it says final blows or sustained precision hits with another weapon increase this weapon's rate of fire. So you do some precision shots, say with a sniper, that will reload it, and then you just dump your Cascade Point. So I really think the reason they nerfed Reconstruction and auto-loading holster is just because they were introducing Envious Arsenal, and they want this to kind of be the new damage rotation swap meta. Because why would people use this weapon over things like the Envious Bait and Switch Edge Transit or Reconstruction Apex Predator? So yeah, they have to give people a reason to farm this weapon. And it does roll Bait and Switch. So Envious Bait and Switch is a perfect pairing for a damage rotation. So that's probably the obvious one if you don't already have an Envious Assassin Bait and Switch roll. And again, Envious Assassin is great, but it does take some setup, where this thing will just always work right out the gate. So this is going to be really strong. And there is an artifact mod that increases damage from weapons with this origin trait. So if you were to get this before the day 1 dungeon, this honestly could be like a top tier meta option for damage rotation simply because of the artifact perk. Then you also have Killing Tally, which is really interesting, but so yeah, you could like go into a damage phase, kill 3 enemies with 1 shot. Now you have a 30% damage buff, but Bait and Switch does the same thing. I believe it's 30% now. Yeah, it used to be 35. So yeah, Frenzy is normally nice, but you could also get Explosive Light. I love Explosive Light. Enhanced gives you 7 shots over 6. So yeah, Envious Arsenal, Explosive Light, or Envious Arsenal, Bait and Switch as far as I'm concerned. The rest, yeah, are just completely outshone by Envious Arsenal, in my opinion. So yeah, a really good God roll, but the rest of the rolls are kind of just whatever. I think I have an auto-loading Explosive Light Wendigo, so that would be my go-to for Explosive Light. So for me, I'm just looking at that. And this would pair really nicely if you had Envious Cascade Point, would pair absolutely perfectly with Cloud Strike. And I never got the auto-loading Cascade Point Wendigo roll, so that's what I'm looking for on to pair with Cloud Strike. So yeah, this thing gonna be really good in the future, especially for a seasonal weapon, because Wendigo was from Vanguard Strikes. Cataphract could roll Envious Bait and Switch. That was from Trials. And then you have Edge Transit, which was from Onslaught, which isn't that difficult. But yeah, they're making like end game viable heavy weapons be available in the season. So that's probably why they took out crafting as well, because you could just craft a 5 out of 5 God roll. Now you're at least going to have to farm a bunch, because look, there's 3, 6, 7 perks in each column. So tough to get that roll, but it's going to be really good. Either of these. Sorry, I went on pretty long on that one. Exuviae is my best guess. It is a stasis aggressive frame hand cannon, so a 120. Typically, I don't really like 120s in PvE, but they're great in PvP, and they hit hard already. Like Igneous Hammer is my go-to in Trials. Explosive Payload, this thing is gonna flinch like a motherfucker. Encore, I have on Igneous Hammer, and it's amazing. So yeah, you can kit this thing out, get some like corkscrew rifling on it, accurized, maybe stability masterwork. And then when you get Encore going, look at this. 4 stacks of Encore. If you don't know how it works, Final Blows grant a stacking stability, range, and accuracy bonus to this weapon. Precision Final Blows grant more stacks. So yeah, if you can get the thing stacked up, it's going to have crazy range, crazy stability. So yeah, Encore Explosive Payload will be disgusting in PvP. Precision Instrument people also liked for mitigating damage fall off and changing the time to kill. Or maybe it was the 2 crit 1 body. Anyway, I don't really like Precision Instrument on Igneous Hammer for PvP, but some people do. So that's another option. To the Pain. While this weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling and aim assist. So just kind of a consistency perk, sort of similar to Eye of the Storm. So yeah, that's what I like for PvP. For PvE, Headstone Rhyme Stealer. Destroying a stasis crystal or defeating a frozen target with this weapon grants you frost armor. And then every time you get a crit kill, you're going to make a stasis crystal. So you can just easily proc it. This is a crit based weapon. 120 hand cannons hit very hard in PvE. So unless I get that roll, which I think I actually got today before I made these videos when I just hopped on and did the story. So yeah, to me, I already have the god roll there. Don't have to really farm it. Stats for all explosive payload could make this thing feel really nice. Explosive payload has great synergy with overload hand cannon because it can stun an overload in 2 shots instead of 4. But these slow firing ones still don't feel great for stunning overloads. Yeah. And then One for All is a massive 35% damage increase on an already hard hitting. So this basically makes it hit like an exotic 120 hand cannon like Sturm. So yeah, that could also be good if you want more damage. But for me, I'm going with the stasis synergy on this one just because it's unique. But yeah, pretty cool weapon. Scavenger's Fate, shotgun, void precision frame. So we've got repulsor destabilizing. Retold tail can also roll with this, and I think Retold's also a precision frame. So for me, I'm really looking at Discord and maybe Harmony, because Harmony gives you a 20% damage increase after you get a kill with another weapon. And then Discord procs when you get another kill with another weapon. Final blows with another weapon grant this weapon increased ADS, accuracy, airborne effectiveness. When Discord is active, final blows refund ammo. So you can treat this like a primary weapon and just refund all your special ammo anytime Discord's active. I've actually done it with Last Man Standing, which came out in Season of the Deep, and it's actually pretty fun. So it pairs perfectly with Harmony. Normally I don't like Harmony, but these two perks are so synergistic because you want to get a kill to proc Discord, and then you're just going to get a free 20% damage. So either Discord Harmony or Discord destabilizing rounds, or Frenzy, just so that you always have that damage increase up, but it's only 15%. I love Frenzy. It also increases reload and handling, which I freaking love. So yeah, Discord Frenzy is actually probably the role I'd go for. Screw the 5%. I don't overly like Harmony. Vorpal Weapon with Anti-Barrier Shotgun could be really nice this season. Perpetual Motion's pretty nice just for an increase to handling and reload. Dual Loader reloads 2 at a time, which is nice. Slide Shot, you can just slide to reload. Also, let's talk PvP for a second. Slide Shot with Closing Time improves range, accuracy, and handling as the magazine gets lower. You usually only spawn in with like 1 ammo these days in PvP, so you're going to get like max range and handling with Closing Time, and then Slide Shot, sliding refills the magazine like we know, or partially, but temporarily boosts range. So this thing could have insane range when you slide with just 1 in the mag. And Slide Shot, if you do pick up ammo, you can just slide, keep 1 in the mag like all the time, and then just slide to reload when you expend that 1 shot. So this could have really, really good synergy in PvP. Like big range, you can go even more with rifled, but then you're hurting your handling. But yeah, interesting PvP one. Precision frames do feel pretty good in PvP, so yeah, that could be really, really strong. But yeah, for PvE, I like Discord Frenzy. This is kind of, yeah, it's void synergy, but I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. Not on a shotgun. Red Tape, a lightweight stasis scout rifle. So we don't get a lot of lightweights. Taraxipos, I think, is like the only lightweight kinetic slot scout rifle that I have, and that was only available for like 3 weeks during Guardian games. So they're pretty rare archetypes to see. You move faster when they're equipped. They feel really good. Demo Headstone is the role I'm looking for. I wanted that on the Trials Stasis Scout, never quite got it. But yeah, Headstone is going to be really good, especially this season. You could also go Rhyme Stealer Headstone if you want Frost Armor. That's also going to be good. But for me, I know how to play without damage resistance. But if you want that free DR, you do you. Demo to me is more valuable just because, yeah, more grenades is more damage output. And I prefer high offense over high defense. But yeah, that's just me. Closing Time, Keep Away. These are kind of some PvP perks. Focus Fury might be nice in PvP. Yeah, you can get a 0.6 3-second kill when you proc Focus Fury, and all you got to do is land half the magazine as precision hits. So it's more for 6s, but if you're not a compulsive reloader, you could maybe even get some chip damage in trials. All of a sudden you have Focus Fury going, and then boom, a 3-tap. So, and then closing time also kind of works with that, because as your magazine gets lower, you get better accuracy, handling, and range. So that could be a really good pairing in PvP. Keep Away as well is just nice in PvP in general. The rest I'm not too crazy about. One for All, like I said, that's a really good damage perk in like high-end content. But the way I'm going more, I like to go for utility rolls over just straight damage. And Explosive Payload is always really, really good. So definitely another good perk you could run there. And it just gives free damage basically, and mitigates damage fall off. Sovereignty, it's a sniper rifle. So it's got this new perk called Withering Gaze. Aiming this weapon for a short period of time without firing grants the ability to weaken the next target. Timer resets after firing or when you stop ADSing. So I don't know how long, but it's probably like box breathing, maybe just like a couple seconds. This is like 1.5 seconds. So we do have lots of ways to weaken now. Back in the day, this would have been so strong. But yeah, but anyways, say you were running a solar subclass, so you can get 25% radiant, but you have no access to weaken. Well, now you can weaken with this. So this is a great utility role and could be really good. We don't have sniper rifles on the artifact this season, but in the future, you could like hold your ADS, and every time, like we just had anti-barrier sniper, right? You could just hold ADS and weaken that barrier champion. And yeah, you pretty much can just weaken all high health targets. So you're going to be able to deal 15% more damage to them. So I really like Withering Gaze, and I've got some other really good Void Sniper rifles. It's an adaptive frame as well, and one just came out on the Pale Heart. Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's craftable and really good. So I would go more for the utility role than a damage role. But that one I'm talking about also has Precision Instrument, and I think it has Reconstruction. So if you have that Pale Heart one, there's really no reason to run this one, because Precision Instrument goes up to 25% damage, and then Firing Line is 20%, and then yeah, Desperate Measure, these are like kill activated ones, so maybe not the best. Explosive Payload in the left slot is interesting. You can mess around with Discord. So I have a Succession with Discord, and then you could pair this with Discord, and you could run double snipers and pretty much just have infinite sniper ammo. Dragonfly is interesting if you wanted to use it for a bit of ad clear. No Distractions is nice in PvP. What else is nice? Not too much for PvP, really. Demo, again, I'm not really using a sniper rifle for ad clear, so I don't know if I'd want demo. So really the only role that I'm seeing is like Withering Gaze, and then maybe Discord or Dragonfly, honestly. And then I'd be really curious, I highly doubt it, but if you got a crit kill with Withering Gaze active, if the Dragonfly would spread that. Something to think about, but probably wouldn't happen. Oh, or Steady Hands Withering Gaze could also be nice. But yeah, really it's all about this or nothing for me on that gun. Vantage Point. Now this is interesting. I want to show you something. So here's my dim, and I have Stats for All, Volt Shot on Vantage Point. Yet it's not in the API. Jolting Feedback is. So I don't know if I have a 1 of 1, or it's bugged, or this is wrong and it's supposed to be Volt Shot, or it rolls with Volt Shot and Jolting Feedback and it's just not listed. But I just showed you I clearly have a Volt Shot roll, but the roll I want is probably Eddy Current and Jolting Feedback. So Jolting Feedback, dealing repeated damage with this weapon inflicts Jolt. That is amazing on a pulse rifle. We have Unstoppable Pulse Rifle this season, so you can ADS, stun the champion, and then just keep laying into him and proc Jolt, and then you're just going to be dealing damage to all the enemies around it as you're dealing with that Unstoppable. So huge utility there. Volt Shot is great in low end content because yeah, you can get kills easily, get a reload, and then spread it. But in high end content, I actually think Jolting Feedback will be better, because how Jolt works, you want to apply it to the highest health target around, because that's going to allow you to spread Jolt more often. So if you just shoot it on a red bar, you're going to kill that red bar very quickly, and then it's not going to be spreading jolt. But if you put it, like I said, on an unstoppable champion, and then as you're dealing damage to that unstop, it's going to be jolting all the enemies around it. So yeah, eddy current, jolting feedback is what I'm looking at. Closing time, keep away, stats for all, deconstruct, to the pain, lone wolf, one for all, high impact reserves, desperado, focus fury, swashbuckler, headseeker. So for PvE, that's really the only viable ones, I think. For PvP, it's an adaptive frame 390. They're actually really good when you get a damage bonus going. Look at this. 1 stack of swashbuckler is all you need, and you can 6 crit, 2 burst with these things. So yeah, like I said, if you have damage perks rolling on these things, they're incredible. Headseeker, does it change the TTK at all? No. But anyways, yeah, I'd be going for swashbuckler probably for PvP, because like I said, only 1 stack and you'll be shredding. If you run something like Peregrine Greaves and you can proc swash times 5 just off a 1 melee kill, then you're looking at a 5 crit or 4 crit 1 body. So that just makes it even more forgiving. And then maybe pair it with To the Pain would be good for duels. And then Keep Away, I think. So Keep Away, Swash for PvP, eddy current, jolting feedback. I don't know how I have a volt shot roll, but yeah, I'm really hoping to get the jolting feedback roll. And stats for all could also be really nice. Stats for all is wonderful. Look at all the stats it gives you just for tagging up 3 enemies. I don't know if spreading the jolt will proc stats for all, but if it does, that makes it even better. And now onto the final weapon. Sorry, I know this video is going pretty long, but I do like to be thorough. We have Heretic's Fervor. It is a stasis aggressive frame rocket launcher, and it's got some pretty good rolls. So no bait and switch, notably, but auto-loading explosive light, that's probably what I'm going for. It's always a good option. Auto-loading, like I said, it did get nerfed. It takes 1 second longer to reload, but it's still excellent. And like in solo content, like I like to play, I'm pretty much always filled up on orbs when I would go to need it. So very, very good. Field prep bipod, if you're just looking at like spamming a million rockets, that could be really good. It's got chill clip, so maybe auto-loading chill clip. That could stun overloads because it would apply the slow, so that could be good. Slide shot is interesting. It rolled on Crux Termination. I've never liked it personally, but again, you do you. You got Rhyme Stealer if you wanted some frost armor. But again, this one has no ways to make the crystals like Headstone does, so I don't really love it on this one. Tracking module is always nice on these aggressive frames, just because you don't want to miss your shots, obviously. Got Vorpal, which isn't great on heavies. It's only 10%, so I would definitely go for Frenzy, because that's 15%, and it maxes out the reload and handling. I've used Frenzy on rocket launchers before, and it feels freaking wonderful. So yeah, definitely a good perk there. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the new seasonal weapons. If you're still here, thanks so much for watching to the end. I do appreciate it. And if you would be so kind as to leave a like and subscription, then that'd be awesome. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one. I got some build videos planned for this week, and they go really hard with stasis, so keep an eye out for those. Anyways, thanks for watching and take care.